Claflin University has been the choice of thousands of students to help them prepare for a life of success and to realize their dreams.
Claflin has an amazing reputation of preparing the workforce here in the South Carolina region and globally. We know that your experience here at Claflin will be transformational.
The university has many articulation agreements with international institutions of higher education. Consider Claflin University as your choice because the world needs visionaries.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Claflin Athletic Show, and I'm your host, Mickey Clayton, the coach. But with us today, we have the real coach, the real basketball coach. That's Coach Brion Dunlap of the much improved Claflin men's basketball team. I can't wait to get into the successes and things that they did last year and what they have on stage for you this year. So without further ado, here's Coach Dunlap.
How you doing, Coach? How you doing?
I'm great. How you doing, Coach?
I'm blessed. Can't complain at all.
Coach, what I said that intro was true. Man, y'all were picked preseason last year to finish 11th in the CIAA. Man, Coach, you didn't live up to those expectations or down to them.
Right.
Coach, what did you do last year that brought about such a turnover or change in the men's program?
Well, we just tried to change our mentality, and we knew we had to put in the work to try to achieve the goals that we wanted to achieve and the goals that we had set for ourselves at the beginning of the season, not only individually but as a team as well. And the guys last year, they allowed me to coach them up. They bought into what we were trying to preach and what we were trying to teach them, and they were able to apply it onto the court, and we were able to come out with some good results throughout the course of the year.
Coach, what's something that you took from last year that you have under your hat or you're going to use this year that's going to help you through the season, that year within the CIAA and with this team?
Well, it was good to be back in the conference, learn the conference, also see it from a different seat. The time before when I was in the conference, I was an assistant coach, and now being able to be in the conference from the head coach perspective, learning the travel, going in and out the different venues, the crowds and the passion that was there within the league. I knew about it before, but sometimes, like I said, when you slide over 6 inches to the other seat, it's a different feeling. And so we just understood the prep that we needed and what we needed to coming into this year to try to achieve our goals. We knew that the conference is very solid, very tough conference, one of the best Division II conferences in the country, in my opinion, and very competitive. And it's some grown young men in this conference, and you got to be ready to go night in and night out, and you could never have a day off.
Coach, you said some really good stuff there. And one of the things I want you to elaborate on just a little bit more, you made the comment that you had to learn to travel. Tell everybody exactly what that means.
Well, you know the CIAA, we have a North and a South divisions within the conference, and you usually play the North teams one time, and then you play the teams within your side of the bracket, which we're in the South. We play everybody twice, home and away. So having to play some of those northern opponents and traveling to their universities, and having long road trips, that was a test. So you got to learn how to manage your squad, make sure we're getting a proper rest, make sure we're trying to eat properly on the road, but also not overloading them too much with basketball, and just try to make it as business-like as possible, but also trying to keep it light so we can get from one game to the next, one day to the next, and be prepared when it's time to come to throw the ball up and play. And that was something it was good for us. We had a long road trip after the New Year break, and we went to Virginia Union, then we played Bowie State, then we went to Lincoln up in Pennsylvania. So that was a good little road trip for us, and we learned a lot about ourselves on that trip, and I think that helped us. We went 2-3 on that road trip, and then after coming home from that road trip, we ended up losing a tough one on the road to Livingstone. But I think we learned a lot. We learned a lot about ourselves, and we learned what it was going to take for us to continue to raise the bar and elevate ourselves throughout the remainder of the season.
Okay, Coach, you said raise the bar. Ladies and gentlemen, understand that this basketball team last year was ranked the NABC top 25 at one point during the season. And were really rolling pretty good. And Coach, what did you learn from that experience? I know all of it's a learning experience. What did you learn from it that you you use going forward?
Well, sometimes I think people don't understand that it's harder to deal and learn how to continue to be successful than it is to not to be successful.
Yes.
Because you can always take shortcuts and or skip a step here and there, and that can lead to failure. But if you know that you have higher standards and your goals, and like I said, raise the bar, then you know you can't skip steps, and you got to take each step and continue to move forward. And even if you get knocked down, you got to learn from it and dust yourself off and get back up and keep moving in the direction that you were going and keep moving forward. And I believe we were able to do that for the most part when we did get knocked down a little bit, and we got knocked back, but it didn't stop our progression, didn't stop our work, it didn't stop our mindset, and we were able to continue to play a certain type of way and to have success doing it.
Okay, Coach. And in essence, you have to learn how to win and what comes along with that,
Yes,
and the
sir.
things you have to do to maintain it as you build not just a team but a program. So
Yes, sir.
you're seeing further than the 22-23 season, the 23-24 season. You're looking at what you need to be able to sustain your programming at a certain level.
Yes, sir.
Now, as you talked about the travel and learning to travel in the different arenas, the CIAA is notorious for how fans are and the hostile environments that you play in. And Coach, I don't think at any point can you underestimate the significance of the learning curve for your team to be able to deal with those type of arenas. When they go somewhere, people love basketball in the CIAA. Talk a little bit about that for those people who don't know.
Well, the passion is top notch. And when you go into these arenas, there's a lot of pageantry, a lot of passion, a lot of pride at each university. And people show up and they show out and they really bring it during the games. And with Claflin, us going into our 5th year in the CI, we're in our baby stages, our infancy stages of being in the CIAA, and there's so many other schools that have been here from its existence. And when we go into these schools, every game, we learn how to put the crowd on our back. We talk about that, put the crowd on our back and use it as motivation and go in there as us against the world and just stay focused and stay locked in and use that energy in a positive way and don't let it overwhelm us where it can be negative and allows the home team to um, um,
Intimidate you.
defeat us and use that. So when we went into the arenas this year, I mean, we took that mantra of it was us against the world, and we knew the crowd was going to be on us from the start to finish, and like I said, we just wanted to use that energy and propel us, and we were able to come out on top. I thought we did some good things on the road, and we handled those environments, and for the most part we were in each and every game that we were on the road. Probably one game here or there we let get away from us, but other than that we were competitive and we didn't allow the crowd to take us out of what we were trying to do.
Well, that's an excellent outlook, Coach. And I know that, you came very short of saying we were the new kids on the block. Uh,
Yeah, we still are a little bit.
right, right. But they're begrudgingly giving you a little bit more respect. I see in the preseason poll, um, they acknowledge your successes from the past season, and picked you in the preseason poll to be number 2, Coach.
Yeah, yeah. Still not where we want to be. At the end of the day, we want to be number one. But it's good to at least get some respect from what we did this past year and with the guys the core that we have returning. To have be respected by the coaches within the league and the sports information directors within the league. So that was good. But I mean, the preseason is preseason. Doesn't mean anything. Once we still got to lace them up. We still got to start practice on the 15th and get it rolling and get ready to showcase what this 23-24 team is going to be about.
You're exactly right, and I love that thinking, Coach, because I'm sure you recognize and telling them it's different being a hunter and being the hunted. And
Yeah.
now you've kind of crossed over the field. Now that you're the hunted, they're putting their bullseye on you.
Well, that's fine. You know, we accept it, but we're never going to stop trying to eat. So we always going to hunt. That's our thing. Our motto is let's eat, and eat stands for effort, attitude, and toughness. And every day we're going to try to bring it, and every game we're going to go out there and try to eat.
Oh, Coach, I love that. I love that. That the Panthers, they say we're always going to eat.
That's right.
Hey, Coach, how do you keep them? And I know it's coming across in the interview in terms of maintaining their focus and understanding sustainability, but they haven't accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, so they can't rest on their laurels. So I know that you hammer that home to them. How do you do that, Coach?
Just staying humble and hungry. Staying humble and hungry, and our we want to make sure that every day we put in the work, so we can't ever look at ourselves in the mirror and say I didn't give it my all. Every day we want to put in the work and hold ourselves accountable, hold each other accountable, so we can get better. And that's the main thing. Try to get better 1% each and every day. Be a little bit better tomorrow than you were yesterday. And that's the main thing we try to focus on. And communication and the accountability piece are the biggest piece, because we know if we can continue to do those things, then we'll grow. And not only will we grow as a team, but we'll grow as individuals, which will make us better as a team. So, and our goals and our standards are what they are, and we understand what they are, and we understand, and I try to make sure that we understand how we need to get there and what are the steps that we need to take to get there. And none of those steps will be skipped in order for us to get there, because we don't want to ever look back, like I said before, and say, well, we didn't do A, but we did B, C, and D. No, we want to make sure we do A, B, C, and D, so then our results will be what they are.
Oh, Coach, I love it. I love it. Explain a little bit from the head basketball coach perspective in terms of you got homecoming. Your first game of the season is homecoming.
Yep.
Then you have the break in the season, during Christmas, and then you come back after Christmas. How do you prepare? Okay, let's start with this. How does it feel to have the first game of the season be homecoming?
It's good and bad. We were hoping from a scheduling standpoint to try to get in the game earlier, so that that wouldn't be our first game. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So with it being homecoming, you want to make sure that you put out a good product out there on the floor, that we have a good showing, because everybody's going to come back to be there. The alumni is going to be there. Everybody's going to be excited about the first game of the season, especially how we ended last year and what we were predicted earlier in the preseason poll. And we'll have a tough opponent that comes in here. And, the opponent, no one wants to be scheduled the homecoming game. So they're going to have a chip on their shoulder and wanting to prove something. So we got to be prepared. And, we got to be prepared not only physically, but we also got to be prepared mentally, but not just what's happening on the court, but mentally in the sense of what's going to be happening that entire week for homecoming week and for homecoming day on that Saturday. Don't get too caught up in the festivities and everything that's going on, and try to stay focused and locked in on what our goal is, and that's to make sure that we go out there and put our best foot forward and try to come out with a W that day.
Wow, Coach, that's excellent. I know that you have a lot to prepare for. People don't understand. They don't know all the things that you have. These are still student athletes. And
Exactly.
it's a lot that's going on that week, and they have family and friends. And without having football, homecoming for basketball is the activity.
Big time.
to come.
Big time. Big time. Big time.
So now the good in it is that people get a chance to see your team early, and hopefully they'll pick up and come and see you throughout the year. The negative is it's the first game and you have no chance to work out anything but be ready to play.
Right. I mean, we'll have a scrimmage or two prior to, but as a former coach, that scrimmages, you're trying to see lineups, you're trying to make sure you're playing against another opponent, you're competing and things of that nature. But and it gets revved up, but it's nothing compared to when you're playing in a live game, and especially a game of that magnitude with it being homecoming. That's even, your juices are flowing even to another level, and you're so, your emotions are so high, and your energy level is so high that you don't want to get zapped out throughout an early portion of the game, just because I'm so pumped up to play. So hopefully the scrimmages that we have prior to will get some of that out. But I know, when it's time to rev up for real, and at the end of the day, the game will count as a win or a loss. It's you got to make sure you're ready to go and manage those emotions and that energy.
Well, we know from earlier shows, assistant AD McCullum had given us somebody who's coordinating the jungle and getting everybody together.
Yeah.
And coach, they're so excited
Yeah.
about getting things pumped up, and we're seeing footage of what they're doing at volleyball games. Coach, y'all better strap up because it's going to be something special.
Yeah. Volleyball has been a great precursor. The energy that's been at the volleyball games has been great. Coach Shad and her young ladies have competed night in, night out. Even last night, the jungle was crazy. So we can only imagine how it's going to be for that first home game.
Coach, it's going to really be special. And we're excited for you. Now, as you go through the season, then we have that proverbial break when school kind of closes down and they're off for 2 weeks or so before you bring them back. How do you get them to maintain a certain level of preparedness with that break?
Well, luckily this year we will be going to the Virgin Islands and playing in a tournament out there, a
Ooh.
classic out there, December 13th through the 18th. So we'll have a little mini business vacation, if you want to call it, when we go there, and then the guys will go on break, their mandated break for the NCAA during their period from the 20th through the 26th. So they'll come back around 27th, and then we will have our get in shape days, get some of that Christmas food out, and hopefully try to get back in shape. And then we have a conference opponent that we'll play once the new year hits. So we'll have a few
Coach, your
days.
first game back is a conference game?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll have a few days to we'll have 5 to 6 days to kind of get in shape, get our flow back, get our energy back, and hopefully we can end the 23 calendar year well, playing in the Virgin Islands, and then come into the 24 calendar year and get that off to a fast start as well.
Wow. I have to say something to your athletic director. He didn't tell me y'all were going to the Virgin Islands. He kept that on secret. Coach, tell me something. As a coach, and I've seen it happen at different levels. Coaching last year, as you take a look back, and we talked about playing in scrimmages and games and everything, who did you have that really surprised you that from practice to game time, you looked at your assistant coach and said, man, where has that been? We hadn't seen that in practice. Who really stepped up for you? Because there's always one that usually doesn't play like they could play till the lights come on. And you're like, wow, that's what we need.
Well, there was I would say, to be honest with you, we had a handful last year that did it at times. That they showed it early in spurts, but it wasn't as consistent as I would have wanted it to be. And as coaches, we wanted more sometimes than our guys, but they think they're being consistent with it, and they probably were thinking at that level that they had played at, that they didn't think that they could get it to another level. So it was our job to try to show them that they could get it to another level, and at times they did, whether that was in games or in practices. We had a number of guys who did that last year. I mean, we were um, a team that had multiple guys that had 20-point games last year. And so we don't rely on just one guy or two guys to make us go. I'm team first, team second, team third. And we believe sharing is caring. And a lot of our guys that did what they did in games, and they may have had a 20+ point game performance or whatever, they had showed that in practice. So that wasn't new for us. It was just that game just happened to be their game. And I think coming into this season with the way that we're going to play and the style that we're going to try to play, our guys are going to have those opportunities afforded to them again, where it's going to be multiple guys where I believe they're going to have a chance to be the guy that night. whether it be 20 points here, 25 points there. We're going to have multiple guys on our team that can do that and showcase their talent, what they've shown us already thus far in the preseason, and some of the guys that we've seen when we were evaluating and recruiting them, that they're going to be able to come in here and help us raise the bar as well.
Well, Coach, to validate what you just said, your top 3 scorers from last year returning, and your leading score was 11.9, second 11.1, third at 10.6, and 4 guys at 7 points a game. So that's a true measure of a balanced attack, Coach.
Yeah, we want it to be difficult for the opposing team and opposing coaches to kind of really have to scout us and understand, like, if you just can't take away this one person or take away this other person and then they'll feel comfortable. No, we want you to feel like you have to guard all of us the entire time and feel like you have to take away what we want to do as a team and not just one person.
Okay, Coach, how much easier or challenging for you is it returning so many of your players from last year, especially your top 3 scorers there?
It's been easier in the sense that those guys that were the core that returned from last year, they've really taken on a more of a vocal leadership role, which I've been pleased. And they've done that on their own. I mean, that's something that we talked about last year in our exit interviews, but they've really stepped up and done that, and they've been really good leaders for us thus far. And it's allowed me not to have to say as much. And
Uh-huh.
as a former coach, sometimes the more we have to talk later on in the season, the guys can kind of, they can kind of get that tone deaf and not hear our voices anymore. So in the preseason, our guys have been a really good job of, like I said, of taking leadership roles and being vocal. And it's actually been not even with our, like it is on the court, it hasn't been a singular person. It's been multiple
Mhm.
people, and everyone has. We tell everybody, all y'all are leaders, all y'all are leaders. Everybody on this team's a leader, so don't be afraid. Doesn't matter your classification. If you need to say something, say it, and don't be afraid to say it. And because those guys that have returned and have done that and taken on that role, other guys have stepped up and done it as well. So that's been pleasing for us as a staff, and we hope that continues, and we're going to encourage that to continue throughout, that they continue to police themselves and continue to hold themselves accountable, because, as you know, Coach, any good team, any good team, or any team that has championship aspirations, the players hold the court, and
Mhm.
they run the show, and they make sure everything's done, and it's not coach driven, it's player driven, and that's how we want our teams to be.
Coach, well said. And let us ask about a gentleman that you had with you last year as a student representative speaking about the men's basketball program, and that's Alan Hatchett, um, in grad school,
Yes.
and also almost 40% from the 3 last year, 39.6. Tell us how he's looked for us.
Well, Hatch he's his eligibility is up, so he's no
Okay.
longer playing. But what Hatch has done for us, so he's been another voice as well. He's been helping out with the program. He's been almost like a volunteer assistant coach, and he's been great. And he's been a person who, at times, has spoken up, and I haven't even had to say anything. He's just going off of what we did last year and the experience that we had last year and last season. And Hatch is, I mean, he's grounded, his head's on straight, and he knows the right things to say, and he can get after the guys a little bit differently at times than I can, because they're still right there in age, and they also respect him. He's a grinder, he works hard, and he will always continue to do that. And Hatch is going to be a very successful person. He already is right now in my book, but even down the road, he's going to be a very successful young man.
Oh, that's good to hear, Coach, and congratulations on the work you put in with him and how he has been and continues to help you. That's admirable. Coach, the last part of the season we didn't hit on, but we do have to remember it's significant, and that's that special CIAA tournament.
Hmm.
Coach, I know the rest of it is only a precursor to get to there.
Yeah.
It sets up the tournament. Tell us what that tournament is like, Coach. We always ask people, and each time we do the show, people say it's going to be people who come back and say, Coach, I had no idea that the CIAA was all that. I said, yeah, it's all that for real.
Yes, it's an event. It's an event like no other. every day is a different day, it feels like. And with it being in Baltimore, the one thing that I felt, I've been in the one in Charlotte, and I've been in one in Baltimore, and the thing that I felt in Baltimore was the fact that it felt like there was more people at the game, and it was so many because of the next set of games were about to go on, and it was probably a different fan base, that it felt like a if you were the underdog, then they started to root for you, whether they liked you or not during the course of the season. That was a great feeling, and just the pageantry, like I talked about before, and the passion and the fans that travel to the game, and you have the bands there, and then you seeing the different athletic departments walking around, and the joy and the pride that each university has there. It's just a different feeling. It is like no other. And when you're out there on the court, those lights, they shine bright. They definitely shine bright, and you got to bring your A game and really be on there. And I would say, um, once you get rolling in the tournament and you have the momentum, then it can carry you throughout. And once you get that first game under your belt, and I mean, you can move on to the next round. You have a great advantage as opposed to a team that hadn't played. I think we got caught in that situation. Winston played really well throughout the tournament. Take my hat off to them and Coach Hill, and they did a great job. And congratulations. I think they had a feel and an understanding of what they wanted to do and what their goal was going into the tournament, and they got it accomplished. And so being in that for the first time this past year, like I said, as a head coach, now I have a game plan on how we're going to be when we go to the tournament this year. So, and our goal is cut down the nets, and that's our goal at the end of the day.
Wow, hey, that's the goal to have, Coach. In
Hmm.
closing, I'm gonna go back and ask you to. I have to ask this. I was in Charlotte. I haven't been to Baltimore, and you said Baltimore seems like it was more people than Charlotte, because it was
Not more people, it's just more people at the games. I think
okay.
Charlotte was just it was so much going on outside of, around the
That's true.
tournament. Everybody was at the different events and at the different venues throughout Charlotte. But in Baltimore, not that there weren't a lot of things going on, but it was just seemed like it seemed, or it felt, I should say, that it felt like it was more concentrated on the games all throughout. In Charlotte, it was more so it was concentrated on the games when it got to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But since the game started um, this past Tuesday, this last year in Baltimore, like it seemed like there were crowds there for every game, every session of the games, morning, noon, and night.
Mm, That hey, that's outstanding there,
Yeah.
because that crowd that you get, Coach. I talk about it with every sport, with everybody at CIAA tournament. It's something special, y'all. You need to be aware of one. Homecoming's coming. You need to get your tickets and support, be there. And we need you to go out before the CIAA tournament, but you need to get your reservations, get your hotels, get your flight, rent your car, whatever you need to do so you can be there and support your program. It's a little special to CIAA.
Exactly. And Claflin fans, if you want to go to the Virgin Islands trip, reach out to the athletic department. There could be, we're trying to put together fan packages for the fans to go out there and want to experience a little bit of Virgin Islands, and also see us compete out there as well.
Coach, give them some more dates on the Virgin Islands and when you're going and things like
So
that.
the tournament is December 15th through the 17th. We're traveling from 13th to the 18th out there. Um, uh, and so it'll be a great experience. Coach, has been a former coach. Part of our jobs is to try to have our kids and culture our young men and young women, and have them see different places they may not have been able to see if they weren't involved in college athletics, being a student athlete. So one of my jobs is always trying to feel like that I need to show them different things, and I think this Virgin Islands trip would be a great opportunity for us not only to go out there and play and see other opponents, but also just be to experience the world a little bit, and go someplace that they probably would never have thought they ever could be. And that's growth, and that's something that I take pride in. And I'm gonna have fun with them out there, and we're gonna enjoy our time and go out there and try to win some basketball games, but also just be together. Because it's around Christmas time, and you want to be around family and people that you love ones, and it's gonna be a great experience for us.
Absolutely, it's going to be a great experience. There's a lot of grown people that don't get that experience.
Right.
So
Yeah.
my hat's off to you and Claflin University for being able to put your student athletes in a position that they can experience something that may be a once in a lifetime experience for them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it straight from the coach at the Claflin Athletic Show. We appreciate you being with us. You know, once we get into the season, we'll have Coach on again. But you know, homecoming is coming. We got some information on the screen for you to be able to see it. CIAA tournament. We need you to be out, see the team, support the team. When they're on the road, you need to go see them. We appreciate you being with us, Coach. We appreciate you, and much luck and success. And if you surpass the expectations from last year to this year, this season, Coach, it'll be something that'll be memorable for a lifetime.
That's the plan.
Thank you, everybody, and we appreciate you being a part of the Claflin Athletic Show.
I liked it on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter. INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.